I am so grateful to Bishop Taylor for giving me the opportunity to present my very first Bishop Suffragan address to this convention. I would like to elaborate a bit on some of the points which Bishop Taylor shared with us yesterday to add some perspective from where I sit as Bishop Suffragan, elected 8 years ago, bald, remember, at this convention, and in active ministry as your Bishop Suffragan for the past 7.5 years. So strap on your seatbelts, we're going for a ride. First things first, for those of you that don't know me, I pray. I love to pray. In fact, it's an integral part of my life. I start my day out with prayer. And for those of you who are my friends on Facebook, you know that I post every morning where I'm going, what I'm doing, and where my prayers are focused for that particular day. It is a practice I began, the posting that is, not long after I became bishop, when I was asked, what do you actually do every day? What I'm about to share in this address is fueled by prayer and by my deep faith in Jesus Christ. And yes, it talks about what I've done, what I do, and what I hope to accomplish, all grounded in faith and prayer. I have absolutely loved being your Bishop Suffragan. It's been a distinct honor and a privilege to have served with Bishop Bruno these past 7.5 years, and I look forward to spending at least that much time doing mission and ministry here with Bishop Taylor and Canon McCarthy. In other words, you're stuck with me for a while more. So please, please, please indulge me as I share a bit of what my life has been like these last few years and talk about where we think we want to go. So pardon the expression, but I have been busier than a one-armed paper hanger. Given that Bishop Glasspool went to New York and Bishop Bruno became ill, my life became, well, a bit unwieldy. I went way too long without a day off, and I carried over a significant amount of vacation time to meet the demands of the diocese. I don't advocate that for anyone, and if you're a member of the clergy and you're doing that, I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna have the big talk, because do not do that. Do not do what I do. Do what I'm telling you, because it is not healthy. I'm gonna get the finger out. This finger. It's like the argue finger, not the other finger, all right? I've just gotten myself in trouble. Okay. That didn't take long, did it? Okay. It's not healthy, and I know that. What's worse, I know some things fell through the cracks, and for that I apologize to you all. I can also share that my family felt the brunt of my workload by me being either gone too much or always on my electronics, as my daughter would say. It was made a bit more challenging in that we have been in this time of transition, a time when Bishop Taylor, Canon McCarthy, and I have been learning how to work together while Bishop Bruno was winding down ministry. The good news, I'm still standing. I'm doing my best to take my day off and catch up on vacation. I feel great. I continue to be cancer-free. I'm energized and ready to go forward. I'm energized and ready to go forward into the future with all of you and my beloved colleagues in mission and ministry at 840 Echo Park Avenue. So looking ahead, the hallmark of our work together as the triad of the diocese, the triad being Bishop Taylor, Canon McCarthy, and myself, has been symbolized for us by the triquetra, a Celtic knot often symbolizing the Trinity. The beauty of that knot is that all three of us are connected, one to another and all to God. The power of that knot is that all of you are included in it by its reaching out into the diocese. What does that mean? It means that we cannot do our work without you, and by extension, because of our polity, you cannot do your work without us. The hallmark of this work together, which will strengthen the knot and keep it alive and growing, is the TLC which Bishop Taylor spoke about yesterday: transparency, leadership, and community. We all need to work together, practicing TLC in order to feed the hungry hearts in every corner of our diocese. So here's how I plan to participate in TLC and keep the triquetra knot strong. Visitations are an important part of our common life together in the diocese. While I am the area bishops for Deanery 1, 2, 8, 9, and 10, and I will tell the gathering here that I am not in charge of Newport Beach. Bishop Taylor, as Bishop Bruno, kept that peace. We, your bishops, can be anywhere on a Sunday, and trust me, I love it. It is a great blessing and a joy to be with you on Sundays and indeed other days of the week as I travel around the diocese. We love sharing the love of God in Christ, preaching, teaching, celebrating, being with you all, learning what you're doing. And I'm always amazed at the incredible mission and ministry being done in this diocese. And I have to tell you that as I travel around the diocese, I find the leadership we have in our congregations, both lay and ordained, so impressive, so much good mission and ministry work being done. My job is to be transparent with you all, answering questions and addressing needs and concerns as best I can, or putting you in touch with the correct person in the diocese to help you, which may well be people in another congregation. Our congregations are very different communities who come together to worship, to be formed as Christians, share fellowship, and become equipped to meet the needs of the communities around them. What does this mean? It means living out the mission and ministry God is calling you to do in your context. Our work together is to focus on what is important: our relationship with God in three persons, our relationship with each other, and with those God brings to us, all the while feeding hungry hearts. As bishops, we can share what we have learned from other congregations with the congregations we are visiting. Indeed, in our work in the House of Bishops, we learn from other bishops through conversation and through visiting each other. All this helps us understand and to talk to you about breaking down silos we tend to build around ourselves and our congregations in order to see and experience the amazing interconnectedness we all share. I want you to think back again about that triquetra knot. So often congregations reinvent the wheel when they can learn from each other. Indeed, in some cases, pool resources to add depth and numbers to ministries, such as laundry love, youth groups and youth ministry, Christian education offerings. We need to stop thinking that someone may steal my sheep and start thinking about the fact that we will actually attract more sheep by working collaboratively as communities of faith. It displays our unity in diversity. It is a strength that we have. And it's one of the things which attracted me to the Episcopal Church to begin with. In my geographical area of ministry, I've responded to the needs and questions of some of our congregations by offering walkabouts to all the congregations I've been directly responsible for. It's been an interesting time of learning for them and for me. Walkabouts are a way to take a fresh look at the neighborhood within the immediate vicinity of your congregation. From the smallest to the largest church, people learn something they didn't know before. Not only what they see in their neighborhood and how it can impact them, but how they look to their neighborhood. You know, it's the little things that have the most impact. Who would know? The message we send to the community about the life or lack of life they see in and around our churches, as well as the signage we have to guide people or not to get into their parking lot or to navigate around their buildings, speaks volumes about our ability and openness to welcome people into our congregations. One time it took me 10 minutes to find the front door, and I'm not stupid. If you're interested in doing a walkabout but are outside of my geographical area of ministry, no problem, give me a call. I'm gonna really, okay. No, really, give me a call. We'll get it on the calendar, and I'll be happy to come and work with you. The learnings have sparked and continue to guide diocesan offerings to address the needs we see in the walkabouts. For example, in the walkabouts I've done, I've discovered that in some cases, the demographic in the neighborhood surrounding a congregation looks nothing like the demographic makeup of the congregation itself. This is actually a problem, in case you couldn't figure that one out. Oftentimes, there are young families and teens around the church who do not necessarily attend the church. We, the Triad, will be looking at best practices to aid congregations in attracting young families and teens throughout the diocese in the months to come. So pray for us in this work. It's a holy work. And you know, we need to be open to the community around us. And sometimes that community is speaking a language our congregation might not understand. And I'm including in this not only foreign languages, mostly Spanish, Mandarin, and Korean, but also the form of English language spoken by the young people in our neighborhoods. The Reverend Peter Wong is developing an immersion model for clergy and lay leaders in neighborhoods where the demographic makeup is changing to experience the culture of who God is bringing into the neighborhood. This will begin this coming year, and I'm very excited about that ministry. Speaking about being open to and welcoming people into our congregations, a great deal of my work involves multicultural ministry. Last year, in my sermon to this convention, I implored you to stop talking about multicultural ministry as outreach. It is not that. It is an integral part of our church, and indeed a growing edge for us. That's why I add a little bit of Spanish, Mandarin, and now Korean into the Eucharistic prayer on Sundays when I'm celebrating the Eucharist all around the diocese. We are not a monolingual church. We never have been. Think of these little additions I'm doing as spicing up the Eucharist. A large group from this diocese went to Texas last July to participate in the New Community Conference. New Community is the term adopted by the ethnic missioners of the Episcopal Church, including and especially our own Anthony Guillen, to reflect what they see as a growing edge of our denomination. A new community of immigrant, first, second, third generation and beyond, of Hispanic, Asian, Black, and Indigenous communities. In order to mirror that effort, the work of multicultural ministry in this diocese is being recoined to new community. So when we talk about multicultural ministry from now on, we will speak of it as new community. Part of this effort also involves gatherings for specific purposes. A new Asian American group is being formed, reaching out to Asians who do not feel comfortable going into a church where they are the only Asians there. Another group is a gathering group for mixed-race couples. The development of such cohort groups strengthens not only their ties to one another, but their ties to this church. For that, I'm very grateful to the leadership teams we have in the new community: Margaret McCauley, Mary Christ, Brent Keenis, Fenny Chang, Kushnud Azariah, Aidan Koh, Greg Kimura, Peter Wong, Jim Lee, Yane Kim, Nick Griffith, Sharon Crandall, Carlos Ruvalcaba, Connie Hornyak, Gail Kawahara, and Catherine Nishibayashi. You heard yesterday the heartfelt offering by Bishop Minerva Carcaño regarding the fate of refugees, the displacement of people every 5 seconds due to war, persecution, and natural disasters. Her offering highlights this critical need in our world. This is another important facet of our new community. Here in our diocese, we have our IRIS ministry, Interfaith Refugee and Immigration Service, whose efforts directly impact lives of immigrant peoples. Their mission is to welcome and provide tangible tools and connections to help new arrivals achieve self-sufficiency in the United States. They aim to enhance the quality of life of all their clients, to develop partnerships with others to help their clients, and to advocate for refugee and immigration rights at the local, state, and national levels. Megan Taylor, the head of IRIS, is brilliant and is well-versed in the needs of this arm of the new community and is an awesome resource, as are the members of her staff. I'm so grateful to Bishop Carcaño for her witness yesterday and for our IRIS program. You know, you can help IRIS out by stopping by their booth and by, did I leave it over there? Filling out my little piece of paper, filling out just a little piece of paper. I lost my little piece. Oh, wait a minute, here it is. You know, you can't lose your little piece of paper. All you have to do is fill in your name. This is for an educational survey that they have. And for each name that is on there, they receive $20. Oh my gosh, stop by the booth, fill that out. All three of us up here have done this. No pressure. It's a help to their ministry. There will also be more information forthcoming on IRIS in the Episcopal News. So please make sure you sign up for that important electronic resource, because we're going to get more information out to you about IRIS and what they're doing and the amazing work that they're doing for the new community on our behalf. You know, with all this good work going on, there are challenges in the new community. Historic prejudice, lack of acceptance, language barriers, to name a few. Among the challenges in providing congregations with bilingual, or in some cases trilingual, clergy and lay leaders is identifying and raising up such lay leaders and providing high-quality theological education for them. We are blessed with a variety of opportunities for theological education in this diocese, currently offered in 3 languages. The Instituto de Liderazgo, Lay Leadership Training in Spanish, the Lee Temoy Institute, Lay Leadership Training in Mandarin, and the Iona Collaborative, a 3-year program designed as an alternative to traditional seminary for deacons and priests, especially bivocational and non-stipendiary. And of course, we have our beloved Bloy House, of which Bishop Taylor and I are both graduates, happily so. A product of the Diocese of Texas and the Seminary of the Southwest, the Iona Collaborative is used by 21 dioceses to train clergy. At the strong suggestion by our diocese, the Iona Collaborative is working to develop online lay leadership training modules, which could be used in English the same way the Instituto de Liderazgo and the Lee Temoy Institute offer lay leadership training in Spanish and Mandarin. Here in the Diocese of Los Angeles, under the guidance of the Reverend Canon Greg Larkin as Dean, we launch our first cohort of the Iona Collaborative the first weekend in January of 2018. I'm excited by this new offering in our theological landscape. Another aspect of the Iona Collaborative that led me to bring it to our diocese is the possibility of securing outside funding to translate this video-based educational program into Korean, Chinese, and Spanish, expanding our ability to raise up and train new leaders for the new community. It is a dream of mine that I hope to make a reality starting this year. My friends in Christ, with the transition of Bloy House away from Claremont this year, we have an opportunity as a diocese to rethink our delivery of theological education and training at all levels and in all forms. Boy, my New Jersey accent came out there too. From regional trainings to webinars to podcasts, think about it. We can and will rethink and reimagine content as well as delivery. This is an exciting time to be in this diocese. Last, but by no means least, Bishop Taylor asked me to oversee finance and to keep my oversight of stewardship with it. As a banker for 17 years before I became a priest, I worked for Crocker Bank, which was bought by Wells Fargo Bank, and finished my career a few years later at Wells. And by the way, for those of you who are curious, I did not work for the organization which runs Wells now. Wells was bought by that organization a few years after I left the bank. So please don't confuse the Wells I worked for with the scandals of the company running Wells now. just to be clear. So as a parish priest, I always loved working on the parish budget. It relaxed me. Honest to God, really, it did. And do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why?
Why?
I got excited about the mission and ministry we could accomplish with the gifts God gave us.
Amen.
It is because I understand the budgeting the same way I understand stewardship, for indeed one cannot exist without the other. To review or work on one without the other is an exercise in futility. For the truth is, everything we have, everything we are, everything we do is a gift from God, and it is a gift that's meant to be shared. Not from the dregs that are left over, but we give of our first fruits, modeled by God in giving us Jesus, God's Son, God's first fruits. Both a financial budget and stewardship must be tied to a vision which drives mission and ministry. It must be transparent and easy to understand. It must contain detail which enables the reader to quickly understand how precious resources are being used to the glory of God to equip the saints to do the work God has given them to do in their communities. A narrative budget and stewardship outline cannot simply be an explanation of the expenses rolled up into a particular budget line. It must be an explanation of what was accomplished in terms of mission and ministry with those resources the prior year, and a celebration of mission and ministry envisioned for those resources in the coming year, all working toward the overarching vision. It's not about focusing on how much it costs to keep the lights on, but instead focusing on the mission and ministry we are able to do because we're keeping those lights on. You know, I understand the words of Leonard Nimoy, and I mean Leonard Nimoy, you know, Mr. Spock with the ears. Leonard Nimoy said, "The more we give, the more we have." It is a truth that is hard for people to wrap their minds around because it's God's truth. It's God's economy. To that end, I worked with a team when I was a parish priest and budgeted our mission share fund pledge at 15%, and I had to work to get there. And our hard dollar outreach budget, remember that's not multicultural ministry. That number hovered around $10,000, and we worked it up. These were the first two numbers I budgeted, and those two numbers never moved or changed. Then we loaded the mission and ministry areas with what they needed to accomplish for their goals for the next year. And we built the budget at the same time our stewardship campaign was outlined because they're tied together. We always ended up having what we needed. It wasn't a lot, but we always had enough. We always had enough because we practiced God's economy. Speaking about building a stewardship campaign, did you all know that the Episcopal Network on Stewardship, otherwise known as TENS, is free to all of you? The diocese purchases a membership each year, and we share the logon information yearly when it comes out in the Episcopal News, so please use it. It's free to you. And visit them in their booth. They're very nice over there. Having just outlined for you my philosophy on budgeting and a bit on stewardship, I want to say a few words about the budget, which will be in front of you shortly. It is a transitional budget and a hectic transitional year. I will tell you honestly that I did not work on this budget except at the very end of the process. Here's what I pledge to you. I pledge to scrutinize deeply the numbers and work in the next budget cycle along with our new Missioner for Finance and CFO, the Reverend Michelle Rackison, to move monies where they need to be to accurately and transparently reflect mission and ministry as it is happening here in the diocese. I will not do this alone or in a vacuum. Together with Michelle and the finance staff and a team of professionals, both lay and ordained, passionate about our church, which I am assembling from every corner of our diocese, we will work as a leadership team with program and volunteer staff to ensure that we bring to you at what we bring to you at future conventions meets the standards of transparency, leadership, and community that we all deserve. We will marry the development of the budget with our efforts on stewardship and development. We will come to you in your region, in your deanery, in your congregation, to equip you, to equip yourselves and us with the resources needed to do the work that God is giving us all to do. This will be, I anticipate, a multi-year process, and I ask for your prayers, your support, and your patience as we all work through this. I didn't work on this budget, so I also ask your indulgence in approving the budget, which will be in front of you shortly, to give us a starting point to do this work. While the budget won't change for the coming year, our work to refocus the budget for 2019 and beyond begins with this budget about to be presented to you. I need your help. We need your help. In closing, I just want to say that I am so grateful that God called me to this work with all of you. It is a blessing and a great honor to be your bishop suffragan. Okay. I will continue to pray for all of you, and as I do every day. And I ask you to keep us all in prayer and to keep that knot strong, that triquetra knot, through your prayer, working with us, working with each other, to the glory of God. Focusing always on mission and ministry in a spirit of transparency, leadership, and community, so that together, always together, we can feed hungry hearts. Thank you.